All right, Capricorn, thanks for tuning in to your August 2014 horoscope. My name is Athen, and let's start off by looking at the general theme for you this month, which will be your ruler, Saturn. Saturn has been in your 10th house for some time. 10th house has to do with your service work, what you're providing society, how society sees you. So it's associated with career, your public image, and so forth. So with Saturn there, there's been a lot of energy, a lot of productive energy going into that sector of your life, and that's going to continue to be the case this month. However, this month is interesting because Mars will be joining up with Saturn, and Venus will also be joining up with Jupiter. And what's interesting about that is that those are the two masculine and feminine principles. Jupiter and Saturn are the masculine and feminine of the slower moving personal planets, and Venus, Mars of the faster moving personal planets. So in other words, the big picture with Jupiter and Saturn and Venus and Mars. So with this big picture stuff going on, this month we're going to be concentrating on it. Everyone will be. And for you, it's in the areas of your 10th house, like I said, of that service work, and your 7th house, which is where Jupiter is. And we really can't look at one without the other. 7th house has to do with relationships and partnerships. Jupiter and Saturn are like the creation of the universe. They are the creation of reality. They're like the sacred geometry. Jupiter is the expansion of light and in all directions, and then Saturn is the texture, it's the grooves, it's the definitions of that. So if you can imagine light expanding and then hitting these more, dense or, third-dimensional aspects of life, it's creating the definition. It's creating the geometry and the shape. Because Saturn has to do with the physical, the denser aspects of life, the hardness of this table, for instance. And Jupiter has to do with the lightness and the expansion. So if you incorporate both of them, essentially what you're doing is you're being a part of the creation of your reality. When you're a part of the creation of your reality, you're able to manifest. You become a co-creator. You join and get linked up with the creation of the universe. We're always creating the universe, but a lot of times we can oppose it and we can want to do our own thing, or we're off the wave, off the flow, and then that's creating a lot of resistance. And a lot of things don't manifest unless they're in alignment. So the alignment in regards to that is in your 7th and 10th house. And of course your birth chart is more significant than just this sign. But in this area, this is what it's about for you, Capricorn. So there's a lot of expansion, a lot of growth, and a lot of opportunities happening in relationships. Perhaps relationships at the work level. Okay, or in regards to your service. But in either case, it's expansion of relationships all around, okay, and a lot of opportunities through relationships. So what you want to try and do is incorporate these two as much as possible. You want to pay attention to how relationships are creating opportunities in your career, okay, and how relationships are creating much more long-term potential. It's with this expansion and optimism and opportunities in the relationship sector, I think you're understanding that there's a long-term sort of component to all of this. Perhaps some of you are thinking of marriage with romantic partnerships. Perhaps some of you are thinking about making commitments, just all types of commitments with perhaps business relationships or whatever. And this is a very good use of this energy. It's linking these two together, you see. So the more you can link up relationships with the bigger picture, or relationships with, I should say, partnerships with your service work or your career, then you're really becoming a part of the co-creation dance of the creation of life. So I'll keep allowing all these opportunities to come to you in relationships. Don't close yourself off. And allow the optimism to flow through you in regards to that as well. And allow it to expand your life. But while doing that, add in the long-term components. Add in the maturity in the relationships, the commitment, the awareness that relationships take work, all relationships, okay, and so forth. So putting those two together is really going to be the manifestation principle for the long term, and particularly this month, because like I said, Venus is joining up with Jupiter and Mars is joining up with Saturn. So the big picture is becoming the microcosm, the small picture, the focus this month. So let's talk about that. Venus is in your 6th house up until the 7th. Then Venus will go into that 7th house of relationships and join up with Jupiter. But up until the 7th, Venus will be in the area of your routine, of your day-to-day activities. Okay? So continue to enjoy the day-to-day aspects of life. And feel how when you take care of your body, for instance, or when you wake up early, or when you have a nice routine or a nice schedule, it makes you feel better. Okay? And it makes you expand and create opportunities for you, and opportunities to enjoy your life in this case. So that's the energy up until the 7th. And now, with this in mind, I want to talk about Mars. Mars is in that 10th house for the whole month. The 10th house of that career, vocation, and big picture, public, service-oriented stuff. So this whole month, pour that energy into that area. You're going to have it. All right? Link it with Venus, with your routine up until the 7th. An example of this might be that when by taking care of your routine, taking care of the day-to-day activities, it's going to help you put more energy into your work, for instance. Okay? And vice versa. Putting energy into your work, your service, is going to help you connect to your routine. And so merging those two up until the 7th is going to unlock manifestation. So if your manifestations are in line with those, then that's the best use of this energy. Now from the 7th onward, this is when the macrocosm becomes the micro. The big picture becomes the day-to-day, the specific, the focus. Venus will then be in the 7th house. Okay? So from the 7th onward, it's going to be about enjoying those relationships. Okay? All relationships and partnerships this month for you. And bringing that commitment, like I said, or at least the long-term picture into it. All right? And vice versa. And allowing more relationships to come through your work and so forth. But really put that energy into that service work because you have it available all month. Mars is not changing signs. He's in that 10th house all month long. Okay, so Mars is that masculine energy. Put that in there while at the same time opening yourself up to other people and enjoying conversation, enjoying your relationships, and balancing those two. Now let's talk about the moon and the sun, which is another sort of polarity, but the polarity here is, of course, a little different. It has to do with your awareness. The moon has to do with your feelings, which is our inner awareness. We become aware of our inner feeling, our inner selves through feeling. Okay, and then the sun is the outer awareness, the conscious self, the awareness of our reality and the external aspects of life. So let's talk about those, because when we bring those two together, that's full awareness. That's the awareness of the feelings and of the consciousness. All right. So up until the 16th, the sun is going to be in your 7th house of relationships. All right. So see, there's a lot of this linking going on. So up until the 16th, I think you're going to be understanding more about yourself and what you enjoy out of relationships. Understanding your values in relationships, who you are, how others see you, how you see yourself, how you fit into relationships in general. So there's going to be a lot of focus on that area for you up until the 16th, so use it. Now, use it in a balanced way. Balance it with the 1st house, which has to do with the self. Try not to put too much focus on the other without putting focus on yourself. And on the 10th, we're going to have a full moon involving these two areas, your 7th and your 1st house. So around the 10th, really feeling into yourself, feeling these new beginnings, really, how other people are changing you, perhaps, how there's this new you surfacing on the inside. And really listen to that, really tap into that guidance, tap into that insight. Okay, and that's going to help you, again, manifest more in all areas, both with yourself and in relationships as well. All right, so on the 10th, balance those. Continue to put that focused consciousness on others, but at the same time, feel how you're changing and listen to yourself on the inside and allow that to guide you. Because the moon is a lot to do with our feminine guidance. Again, it's that expansion. Okay. Now, on the 25th, we have a new moon. Okay, and the new moon is happening in the 8th house, which is the more meaningful aspects of relationships, the deeper aspects. Now, this is the transition for you. The transition this month is going from the 7th into the 8th. So this has to do with, again, just becoming deeper and more involved with the sort of the raw aspects of life. Understanding that life is about life and death. It's about receiving and releasing. Okay? It's a two-way process. So while there's relationships, in other words, if the relationships were just great all the time, then where's the growth? Where's the transformation? And so I think for you, that focus is then going to shift around the 25th into getting into the more deeper aspects of your relationships and of yourself as well. Okay, and that's going to lead you into September. So become aware of that. Allow this new you to transform around the 25th and try to see how life is greater than just what meets the eye. It's more than what meets the eye. It's what's deeper and what's more meaningful. And this is going to help you develop more deeper relationships with yourself, with others, and help you release parts of your life that aren't serving you anymore to allow in more new stuff. Because it's not until we clear the decks or clear the closets are we able to allow new things to come into our life. Okay? So do keep that in mind, and this should be very sort of transformative period for you, because the 8th house is about that phoenix rising up out of the ashes. By letting go, by releasing, we become more enlightened and more enlivened as human beings. So that concludes your horoscope, Capricorn. If you have any specific questions, please get in touch. If you'd like a personal, in-depth reading, I'm still offering a discount on my personal Skype sessions. So if you're interested, I'll put a link down in the About section. And as always, have a great month, and thanks for watching.